Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, oh. If you're new to chainsaw performance, this video is for you. Waiting on it. Today, we're gonna disassemble this saw and we're gonna look for some free performance that you may be able to do yourself, along with bolt on some cool performance parts. Let's take a look. This saw right here is one of my favorite platforms, the SugiHara 372. It's capable, it's not too heavy. This saw is known to be legendary if it were an OEM saw. Now, the opinions are very mixed on whether or not the clone saws are worth it. From this standpoint right here, what we're doing today, I would say they are 100% worth it. And what that is that's exploring how to get gains or horsepower out of this saw. You see, a lot of my saws are starting to end up being ported. Well, this saw, though I have had offers to get it ported, it's not ported yet. I want to see what I can do from a perspective of just a guy in the shop with minimal tools. And I want to see how far I can push the performance out of this with bolt-on parts and easy to do procedures, or at least I think they're easy to do. Because I do plan on removing the cylinder off of the saw, I do want to go ahead and blow out a little bit more. Before I remove the cylinder, I'm going to be checking for squish. Some of you have potentially never heard of that before. What I'm going to describe it as in layman's terms is it is the amount of room before your piston hits the top of the cylinder. There's all kinds to know about two-stroke theory and all of that. I'm not that guy, but what I am is I am an enthusiast that wants to learn, and again, this is a great platform for it. To measure that squish, we're going to use a piece of solder and we're going to stick it through the spark plug hole, and we're going to go ahead and rotate with the pull string. Now, this is not going to be a comprehensive how-to because there's a lot to know, but this might certainly get you interested and intrigued in this procedure. We're going to use some solder here, some thicker solder, because what we're looking for is we're wanting to take a measurement of how much room there is before there's a collision between the top of the piston and the ring or the squish band of the actual cylinder. I've done this before, it's been some time ago. I think I got a squish there. We're going to zero our caliper out. We're going to go to inches because we're going to be measuring in thousandths of an inch. I'm seeing about 41 or 40 thousandths. What I'm looking to accomplish is the ability to remove the base gasket. By removing the base gasket, you're effectively doing two things. We are adding compression to the saw, but we are also slightly changing the port timing. In fact, it may be more than slightly because I'm not exactly sure how much you're looking at removing when they port cylinders, but I have a suspicion even the smallest change can impact the performance of the saw. With that, I'm going to try this one more time and see if I get another number around 40 thousandths. We want to, before we get started or before we do something like remove the base gasket, we want to know for sure that we're not going to have a collision inside of the saw. Okay, man, even bigger solder would be very nice. I'm seeing 40, 42, 39. I think we have enough room based on all of the information I've seen over the years. A lot of people are very critical of the clone concept because, you know, they're made in China, they're aftermarket, sometimes quality can be questionable and so forth. But what I love about them is it enables someone like myself to learn and play with this before you jump in there on your extremely valuable, well, OEM 372. You know, if you have, like, I view that saw as like an heirloom saw. It's not, maybe not something that you'd feel comfortable with diving in yourself and start deleting base gaskets and all that. These are so nice. These are cable driven on the throttle. That, I think that just contributes to the experience being so good on them. It's been a long time since I've worked on a 372. I started all of this chainsaw shenanigans with this platform right here. All right, so I'm going to get some fuel. Basically, well, let me see if I can reduce some pressure by opening up the cap. That might have helped. See if I remembered something worth a darn, huh? But most of the time, fuel like that starts pouring into it. Because I'm going to remove the cylinder, this is attached. I've got a boot held on by this clamp right here, and the head of the fastener is faced to the bottom. So I can't really do anything other than just remove the whole deal here. There we go. I'm really excited to pull this cylinder off and see what it looks like. Is this a 4mm? On the real saws, are these Torx or are they Allens? Using my Icon tool set, I just recently got these. I guess it's a little bit more than recently ago, but I haven't really used them all that much. And I've always wanted to have a nicer set of T-handles. Alright, got those cracked, and I forgot, you've also got to remove the one anti-vibe right here. I'm really excited to see how this cylinder looks inside. You know, it was a little bit rich at first. I want to see what the ports look like, if the plating looks nice, if there's any sort of chamfer on them. I've learned a little bit after working on this MS460 up here. That saw had some trouble, and I replaced the piston in it with a meteor piston. There was some scoring on the original cylinder. There was aluminum transfer on it, so I sanded it off, put a meteor piston, new rings, and the saw's been running well. It has developed some slight scoring again, which I kind of thought might happen, but I don't have a lot of money into it, and it's a fantastic running saw. I am hoping to make this saw run even better, because it's a nice running saw. It's comparable, really, in speed to my 7310 and that 372X torque. It's within the ballpark. And, you know, this saw could probably use some tuning, and by the time we get done deleting the base gasket, it really ought to be nice. Let's also take off the muffler while we're at it. I was getting too excited. Oh, that's a bigger. This muffler was provided by Arkansas Chainsaw. Does have a YouTube channel. I will link him down below. And it's really cool. I've never had a pipe like this, but I will not be mounting it back onto the saw. I've got a part from Exile Performance Parts that we're going to replace this with. It is a stainless steel muffler, and I do want to mention that all of those Exile parts along with this saw is available from TriStar Supply for 10% off using my discount codes. They have clone saws, but they have parts and performance parts for clones and OEM saws. Just depends on what you're looking into. All right, boy, that piston looks nice. There it is. This is the cool thing about a non-clamshell saw. I'm able to pull the whole top end of this off without fully disassembling it. It's really awesome. A lot of times people want to know the difference between a clamshell saw and a non-clamshell saw. Well, this is one of them right here. You know, we're able to pull this entire top end off without fully disassembling the saw. When I worked on that Steel MS390, and it doesn't matter what brand it is, if it's a Steel, Echo, Husqvarna, it doesn't matter. Clamshell saws are built like unibody cars. They just have there's so much going on that they're just all combined into one big jumbled puzzle, and they're a pain in the neck to work on. All right, let's take a look inside of this cylinder here. Still got cross hatching in there. It's hard to get this, but that's Bel Ray. I've been mostly running Bel Ray's oil in there, H1R. I'm contemplating just going back to Echo Red Armor because I feel like the Red Armor is just a little bit of a cleaner burn ultimately. But there you are. There's your piston. And that upper ring in there is where that squish band is. Now let's take a look at the piston here. I feel a lot like Richard Flagg at the moment. We're going to discuss the wash pattern and all that. No, just joking. I'm not going to discuss the wash pattern because I don't really fully understand what the heck's going on. But there's the wash pattern right there. I don't see any scoring at all on that piston. So I feel like this saw looks, in my lack of experience, I feel like this saw looks nice. Let's look on the intake side here. There's a little bit of wear down here on this side right here. I've heard that that can be caused by stuff getting into the intake. Okay, so like dirt, foreign objects. I don't know. It's possible also that I wonder if this piston might be rocking a little bit. But again, for the people that know what they're doing, please share what you're seeing here. What we've got is we do have the base gasket sitting here on top of the case halves. I'm going to peel this off and we're going to take a measurement of it and see how thick it is approximately. Now it's probably going to get damaged, so we'll try to find a spot that hasn't been damaged too much. I'm going to try to measure right here where I can see there was compression. I'm seeing 16 thousandths. I don't know. We're gonna assemble this, and also you do get some more clearance from the sealant as well. I really dislike this part. I feel like I'm gonna get stuff into the case. I'm trying to scrape away from everything. I'm cleaning the bottom of the cylinder. I'm not seeing any gasket material on here at all. I'm going to give it one more good wipe down with rubbing alcohol and then not touch it with my fingers. Now this next part, I would refer to whatever manufacturer you have, or do your research on what you're going to use for sealant. Durco's a great product. Yamabond, I think, is another one, or Honda Bond. There's a Yamaha one, Yamaha makes one, that's good. Moto Seal's one. I honestly thought I had Moto Seal, and then I started on this video, and guess what? I've got this. I have seen some people say that they used it. Listen, some of you are going to be screaming. From what I can tell, it seems like this is a lot like the whole two-stroke oil mix ratio brand on all that. Obviously, there's probably some truth to a lot of it, but this is what I've got. Part of the learning experience. Now, with this sealant, I just cleaned the rubber off my hands. I'm sorry, I cleaned the oils off my hands. So I am going to gently push this around. Now, one thing is you can't have too much, okay? So I started off with a lot there. I'm just gonna start spreading this around the base gasket area. If you have done this a lot, you know how to do it better than me. You don't want to have a mess inside the case like what I've started right there, but you also need to have enough that it will actually seal. I'd rather have it squish out than not have enough. Again, there's probably people in that comment section that have done this a lot more times, and they're recognizing how I'm doing it wrong. Refer to the comment section, but we're going to see if you can do this like this right here. Biggest thing is making sure that ring is in the right spot. There it is. Okay. I'm a little nervous, everybody. That's just the honest truth. Start torquing these down. Oh, dang it. Don't do that. Thanks to TriStar Supply for making this a possibility. Like I said, they are the ones that provided this clone saw to me to make videos about. Okay, before I get crazy tightening this up, no, I should probably just tighten it up. Okay, now I'm really curious. We're going to do a squish test again and see what we can see. I'm hoping it is not below 20 thousandths. There we go. This is actually getting a good bite on it this time. Alright, let's see what we got. 24 thousandths. So I was having a hard time before because what I had was basically a big squish, and it was hard to actually get it. So let's do it again. Take a measurement around it a couple times. There we go. Let's see what this measurement is. Now this is where someone with a lathe or something like that, or maybe I put way too much sealant in there, but regardless, we have room, I believe, for the piston to move up and down and not collide with the top. So that's really good. I'm just going to give these one more snugging because that sealant's in there and I want it to bond. Squish in there real good. All right. Boy, these saws are just easy to work on, everybody. Really nice. Really, really nice. Put my choke lever back in here. Again, very easy. I mean, that's just awesome, man. I love that. No wonder people like working on these saws. They're just simple. Husqvarna did such a nice job. I mean, just even hooking up the linkage is no big deal. Wow, man, it's just easy. All right, so I did remember to put the, I think that's the pulse line, if I remember right. I did put that down below. Now I gotta feed it through this little grommet here. Got it. So we are well on our way to having a saw that probably is gonna perform better than it once did. That is awesome. This is why it's important that you learn how to tune your own saws. First of all, you just need to know how to tune your saw. It's just a good idea. And then second of all, anytime you do performance work of any kind, whether it be a muffler change or something like that, this is certainly going to require some tuning. This 372 Pro is equipped with the NGK spark plug. Let's see what that feels like now. Huh. It feels like it has more compression, for sure. Yeah, okay. We're not going to mount the cover back on yet because part of this video was putting on some sweet parts. Oh man, I'm so excited about that. Now let's get on to the real fun part here. Bolt-on modifications are always so cool, man. It's so nice when you can get a gain and a good look and get good sound out of something you can just bolt on. For example, my 562 XP is 100%. That saw is 100% an example of that. That Steadfast forestry muffler, that stainless steel, it is amazing. Well, I don't know why I'm talking about it. I can just show you. I mean, Huskies just sound good anyway, but that muffler just has been absolutely unreal. Now, this beautiful specimen here is an Exile performance part. Again, available at TriStar Supply. Use my discount codes, 10% off. Made in Canada, beautifully welded. I love it. It's going to look so good. And we've still got a screen in it, so it's going to be less of a fire hazard in dry climates and dry areas. Also, legally, you can't run your saw in some areas. I think it's like considered, you research that, but it's something about like national forest land or something like that, I believe. I'm not an expert on that. I just cut on my own property and surrounding areas. But I am mindful of it. If I don't have a screen and the conditions are ripe for fire, I do not use those saws that don't have screens in them. Comes with a sticker. I've never opened this up. It comes with a new gasket. We're not going to need that because the one that's on there is in excellent shape. It did not get ripped or anything like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's going to be good. Oh, yeah. What a beautiful thing there. What a beautiful, beautiful thing here. I'm going to be using some thread locker on that. The difference between this and my Steadfast Forestry was that it required a lot of finagling to get on there. And I think this is going to be no problem. It looks like it's just like a direct bolt-on replacement. That's a cool thing. What an absolute beauty. There's enough room to get in there with a standard 5mm T-handle, which is nice. You don't need anything special, no ball ends or anything. There is one thing that I think can be improved on this muffler just from initially looking at it. This opening should have been a little bit larger on the top and bottom in particular. The sides are about right, but there is a little bit of a lip. If you've had any sort of performance work done, that exhaust side is going to be much wider and larger overall. So you would definitely, and I would think, want to match that. But on this stock saw with a base gasket delete, I think we're going to be okay. So we've got a big old bit of gasket material, the screen, and the cover. I've really enjoyed the Exile cover on my MS460. It's made that saw super, super snappy. A lot of fun to run. This will be really nice to be able to take the cover off like you do on a steel and take a look inside. I do like that about most of the steel saws. Some of the newer stuff, like that 400.1 that's coming out, it's going to be a lot more like the Husky where you've got to take off the whole can to see anything. I think you're going to see a lot more stuff like this out there. If the threads don't feel right, stop and don't force it. Something I've learned over the years. Most of the time it's because you don't have something lined up, or like this, I had another fastener too tight and it wasn't allowing it to line up properly. While I was cleaning up, I realized I didn't put the heat shield on the muffler, so I think that if you leave the gasket on the saw, put the heat shield, and put this additional gasket on here, more than likely, I think that everything ought to fit even better. I'm gonna give it a shot. Might not want these in yet because this does have a strap that goes across there. I think that's a nice touch to support the bottom side of this muffler. Fantastic. With a 372, you want a Loctite sandwich. That's my opinion. You do not want anything to fall off of these saws. It kind of does deform a little bit around the case. That all fits in there much better now. Okay, so you got your case studs back here. I don't have a problem with that. You know, we're still sandwiching the muffler together. We're providing support on the bottom side of the muffler can, which is good, so that we're not just hanging off those back two bolts. Flanges fail on a lot of these aftermarket mufflers, and I think this will help with that. That's awesome. We're not done yet. Look at these beauties. Beautiful. I'm going to reuse the Allens that were in the original dogs because I just feel like I would rather have a 4mm head versus those right there. You know, I don't want to add torques onto this saw when there's no other torques. But that's the way I'm doing it. And I'm sticking to it. These are awful hard to get on sometimes. In fact, I've broken them before. I don't know if I like this like aluminum chain catch here. I feel like I would prefer plastic over that, really. You know, aluminum is softer than the steel, but still. A lot of times these are just like 660 parts. Yeah. I like this Exile setup better than the West Coast Saws one. I don't even know what those are called. If you can tell me, that would be fantastic. Because my 460 has a broken clip. And yes, I can get the whole thing for like a couple dollars. I just want the clip. There it is. This saw looks so cool. I think we're gonna go with the SugiHara premium light back on it. That'll be a nice bar to complete the theme here. It's kind of a cool saw, man. It's kind of got like a theme going on. I'll leave my chain loose for some people to tell me it's loose in the comment section. I'm so excited to run this thing. Since we started this video, I think we've gained three subs or so. Thank you everyone who's watching. We've had some great successes. Of course, chainsaws are our bread and butter. We've got tractor content, we've got house building, house renovation style content with a little bit of a twist. We are here in rural Oklahoma, and you know, my wife and I have a vision that we like for the property. My wife homeschools the kids, and we're making our dreams come true. And YouTube has really been quite a bit of that. Because honestly, we were kind of at this place where we simply weren't making any headway. And it wasn't for a lack of effort, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. The YouTube channels made my tractor a possibility. I didn't get that for free. I did purchase it. But the channel's paying for my tractor monthly. And then it's providing even more than that now. And what that's allowing me to do is invest in the channel and make future plans. We've got some exciting things coming up in the future that I plan on sharing with you guys. It's not just all about us. It's gonna be we're gonna be making new content, different styles of content, because of the opportunities that have been afforded us. Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. see what the decomp feels like. My 7310 is almost back from porting. It shouldn't be too much longer. I'm excited. Oh, man, just that base gasket really increased the compression a lot. That sure made this saw look fantastic. I cannot wait to see how it's going to perform. Many of you are probably waiting on it for me to pull it over and start it up. Sorry, I'm not going to rev this thing up to 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 RPM with fresh gasket maker and that base gasket on that cylinder. I want to so badly. I just do. I really want to. But I'm going to wait the time frame. It says to wait like 24 hours. One of the things I always do is I rush things. And when I rush things, it generally doesn't go well. So what that means is make sure you're watching for the cutting tests that will be coming up with this. I'm not gonna be able to compare this to the way it was and see the gains, but I'll tell you what, I can already tell you that this has far more compression than it once did. And there's no reason for it not to perform better. You know, A-Fleet Command was a big proponent back in the day on these 372 clones. Base gasket, delete them, muffler mod them, and you had a great strong work saw. And so that's what I think this is going to be. Make sure you check out TriStar Supply for all of your Exile performance parts, clone saws, and again, 10% off using my code OKI10. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good one.